This is a quick one, I promise, Latin 2, because it's a topic that we've basically covered already. I mean, I definitely made a video about deponent verbs, and hopefully you've seen my video on deponent verbs because they're super important. You need to know what they are. So if you have not watched the video on deponent verbs, do that first. All right, go watch the video on deponent verbs because this video is not on deponent verbs. This video is on semi-deponent verbs. That's partly why it's going to be quick because the concept isn't really new. There's just like a little fact about them that you need to find out. See, semi, right, would mean half. So semi-deponent verbs are verbs that are deponent half the time. That probably sounds super annoying. It is. But also, I promise it's not quite as bad as it sounds because they're not going to be deponent like at a random half the time. They are deponent a predictable half the time, but still only half the time. And some of these are verbs that you actually already know, like audeo, for instance. Here, I'm going to get close up so we can cut off the rest of the forms. Audeo, right? That's a verb that we definitely saw, not often, but we saw it in Latin 1. It was a vocab word, and it means to dare. And from what you saw in Latin 1, it would have only been, things in the present system, which you only need two principal parts to show, audeo, audere. But if you see the perfect stem, or the full set of principal parts, you'll see it's audeo, audere, ausis, sum. There is nothing deponent looking about audeo or audere because those aren't deponent. They look active, they are active, but ausis sum is not a normal third principal part. That looks like it's passive, but you're still going to translate it as active. It doesn't matter which of these stems you base it on, you're going to translate it as active no matter what. Whether it has actual active forms or passive forms, you're still going to translate it actively. That's why it is semi-deponent. When it is present or imperfect or future, it won't be deponent, it'll be active. And if it's perfect, pluperfect, or future perfect, well, you'll still translate it like it's active because it's deponent. And this is actually the way that every semi-deponent works. They're verbs that are specifically deponent in the perfect system. Always the perfect system, never the present system. So I don't think this word was in your Latin 1 book, but it is in your Latin 2, or maybe it's in the Latin 3 book. It comes up at some point. But it's a nice one because you can look at it and already tell what it means, even if you've never seen it before. To confidere somebody is to confide in them or to trust them. And from confido, confidere, it doesn't look like it's weird by any means. It just looks like a normal old third conjugation verb. And technically it is, but it is also semi-deponent because if you want to say that you had trusted somebody or that you have trusted someone, your form is going to look passive, but you're still going to translate it actively. A verb that you definitely saw in Latin 1 was this one, soleo solere. It means to be accustomed to. And honestly, it's kind of an awkward one because in translation, it's almost easier to translate as the adverb usually. Well, what your Latin 1 book did not tell you is that it's semi-deponent, and the perfect stem is solitus sum. So I'm not even going to bother putting up examples of these in sentences because you already know what deponents do. I just wanted this real quick moment so that you would know that semi-deponents exist. They are what they sound like, which is deponents that are deponent half the time and not the other half, but they're not random. Semi-deponents are specifically deponent in the perfect system. So as long as you remember what deponents are and you don't forget that basic fact, you should be fine. It's perhaps annoying, but totally dealable. So y'all go forth and deal with it, and I'll see you in class. Bye.